But there are areas that would make that so much easier to get done than Ben or team having to do that by hand every time you want to make a change. Excuse me.
Somebody from tech.
So at some point, I want you all to talk about or help us guide through at what point it is helpful to bring in a staff member from the other side to facilitate just the operations. Yes, the committee and all still validates the data, and it's the data that you all have trusted, and the sources are validated. But at some point, areas of expertise need to be maximized to reduce the burden across all. It also makes it easier for you all to provide feedback in the public on different iterations and versions.
And we had that very conversation, and I probably shared with you.
We don't talk about it in that way.
Okay,
so,
well, if
sorry,
you had
but
talked
no.
about it, but we did have the conversation with this group. It's like, we don't want this to be a one-off deal, that every time you do it, and he did talk about it, well, I go in and then I move the needle. I said, whoa, 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 whoa. We gotta somehow make this
We need an
so,
IT
once you identify it,
person
it goes
to
to something in a
create.
spreadsheet. And we had Jaden, our resident techie in Camp Ridge on our committee going, I wonder if I can find someplace. He
Well,
wasn't able to find it.
And I was even
Yeah.
like, I'm married to a graphic artist, I could ask if he could do
But
that.
to your point, we want to make it so that it's an iteration of the financial information you're already developing.
And again, the levers of what's good or bad or off track are still determined by the committee and validated that way.
Oh,
But
yeah. No,
we
it's
just-
got to be efficient. It's got to be efficient.
even for you all's processing and meeting, and so at some point deciding where it's appropriate to bring that in would be helpful as well. But not wanting to engage in that in the beginning and understand all of that, but it
There
would
is a
help
need for
us.
that.
It might be beneficial if are you over IT?
Yes.
If you have somebody from IT that can show up at our meeting.
So we can work with the right role and responsibility in terms of that piece, but absolutely, but I didn't want to insert, so like I
No,
said, I have stayed
no.
out of this for a lot.
And we've had this
Or they could do
discussion,
it
just
behind the
recently
scenes.
we've
I
had
mean,
this
they can do it behind the
discussion.
scenes and say, hey,
Yeah.
here's what I came up with. I mean, and bring it in and just,
Right.
and then we can give it a.
But they can
tweak
work
it.
with you all, whatever that needs to look like, it's just I would like that part discussed and clarified
We'd
so
be
that we can.
totally open to that.
Well, and Ben was very upfront. He's like, well, I've created, this is what I have, but this is not my acumen. This took me forever to do. And
That's
then
not good.
that got us to think, I'm like, we really need a technological person to come now add into the committee so that they can go back and do their magic on a computer and program it and make it work.
And only you all's interpretation, so it's not like they're advising, their role isn't necessarily membership in that space, it's just like,
Right.
here's what we heard you all say, here's the leverage you want pulled, here's what that looks
Right.
like, that way. But that would be helpful as you all are talking about next stages and iterations to get some clarity so that we can either shift staff daytime or whatever so that they can contribute. Also in a way that's fiscally responsible for the district, so we can.
Well, and just make it streamlined, right? Sometimes the best gift ever is time, right? And I don't want to waste anybody's time. It's a waste of time, right? I just wanted it to be streamlined to where if Ben was already entering figures into a power presentation for you all, why not just have them feed to the dashboard and then it's there. It's all streamlined and it's done.
We just gotta get
And then it would be beneficial, you could even bring up the dashboard in a board meeting and show it, and people can actually chew on it and see it in real time, as opposed to some person sitting at a desk for 8 hours going, well, I need to upload this figure here, and this figure here, and this figure here. That was, it just, 100% the committee did not see that as feasible.
That's important, Mike. What you just said, it helps us because we do have the experts in the field. And so if we know what it is that the committee wants to present, the information that we want our public to know, I think we have an idea. We can share that with the experts in the field and they can determine the best and most feasible way to show it how. That would be helpful.
Would it be feasible that, do you foresee at any time that we would move to a space where the dashboard would maybe replace the PowerPoint presentation because they would be so aligned? I mean,
I think
Is
the
that-
role of a finance person in a district is to present less.
yeah,
I think Ben presents an arm and a leg in the kitchen sink as well, to build that trust back in the community, but to also just give a picture. But, I mean, Paul kind of hit it best. When he's sitting through Ben's presentations, like about 10 minutes in, your eyes are crossed and you're like, okay, you lost me about 10 minutes ago, I'm not with you anymore. And so and that brought us to the question that I asked you, like, where do you want this dashboard to be? Is this front facing? Do you want it, because that helps drive our work. If it's just for you all, we could design whatever Cadillac dashboard you want. But if it's for the public, you're dealing with a great schematic of,
Ultimately for the public.
right, a great schematic of learning abilities so that you're trying to encompass as many fish as you can in the net.
I will say that Ben and I have talked about changing the board presentation to structure here. So whatever it looks like is determined by board need and board interest. So this most recent iteration, like you referenced, changed after, in the midst of even that current board, oh, well, we don't have enough information about this piece, we want to know more here, if we watch these metrics. So it is adaptable. So what the next iteration of a board monthly update around budget or finance looks like is dependent upon what metrics are of interest to the board. So it could be that the dashboard becomes the vehicle and it's reviewed this month's updates or changes in the current status of the dashboard, because these are the key financial indicators that we've said we will watch, and so we're going to spend some time discussing those. So it could be. So that's, although they're not related, I mean, they're related in the same way. We've talked about adjusting the presentation, and if it needs, that's what the adjustment becomes, that's okay. But we've already talked
The
about
beauty of all the new faces on, I'm sorry, go ahead. I was going to say, the beauty of all the new faces on the board is you bring them that fresh look. And just like our group, it was kind of the same way. We were all, we came from different perspectives and areas, and spirited debate, and all of it's positive and sometimes
You
well,
leave
mostly positive.
with your shell a little battered.
But no, I think I can say we disagreed without being disagreeable. So I think we're to the point of just the question becomes what is going to be helpful to all of you, and in turn to the communities that you represent, right? To the community that you represent. So this kind of conversation is really helpful to us. We'd like to, I speak for my name as a committee, we'd like more of it. And we want to hopefully, I'm really pleased to hear, and Ben is intimated as well about that, because I think his comment was, well, I presented this way because this is the way we present it. And I think, once you've earned the right to kind of give your input and change after a while, I think he's saying, yeah, I think I see ways that we can make this a better tool for our board, for the public. So, that's ultimately the goal. And as much as the charter, we kind of tried to push this in a way that made sense to us. And I don't think it was to exclude anything. For example, the legislative piece. I think we were confused by it. I think we thought in our mind we would address things that happen real time on the ground that affect the budget. But we weren't going to be like keeping track of every little thing happening in Washington, Olympia, or here locally. So I think we have a better understanding of that now. And we would do that. So
when you talk about the beta and having feedback, we do have the thought exchange tool that we could use as well to push out. So the district does have a tool that was ordained that we could potentially use for that too.
Well, and I mean, if the great answer was to build trust in the community, you don't do that with Paul and I standing at a podium speaking to everybody. You do that by doing, right? You put things into practice that builds that trust. Which leads me to my next question. Do you need me here on Wednesday to present anything? Because I had originally in our discussion was we were going to bring this to the community, but then that's not how this process works, and that was the learning curve to where we're now having that discussion. Or would you prefer to have you guys have the discussion in the open? Or if there's not that much change to the original charter, does there actually have to be a discussion, and can it just be mentioned and put it on the web?
Okay, I need some help with this then.
I'll circle back. So what we decided was, because we did not know, we hadn't had the information,
Right.
we moved it to the March 11th board meeting for approval,
Okay.
for discussion and approval. So if there is further discussion, I think that needs to happen, which I don't know if there is, but if there was, then we should send that to you for clarification, so that way you could do whatever you needed to do to give you time before, because it would have to happen, it's too late to have
Okay,
So that was our discussion in our general setting, was that we moved it to the March 11th for discussion and approval. So basically, it come up, we might, if you're here, we might pull you up if you have any clarifying questions or want to thank you, which usually is what happens,
Okay.
and then we would take that.
You know, we have, our next meeting's on the 5th.
good.
So we would have time, and if you have things that you see, you know, questions or whatever, I mean, ultimately, this is your charge to us.
Right.
So if you have things that you feel like we would change this verbiage, the CFAC was, we'll change it to continues to be charged with. I think that's a great change. But if there's other things in there that either you have questions, you could email Michael or myself, and we could certainly get back to you. And certainly on the 5th, if there's tweaks, we could address them then. And I think, does that still give time to the 11th meeting? Because we could, sounds like we're close, so, but if there's things that we missed, I mean, there's sometimes you get some groupthink, and we always want to be mindful of that maybe we missed something, so
Do
please
we
let us
feel
know.
that we have to bring this back for our vote on the 11th?
Yeah,
Okay, I just want to.
Because it's a change, we have to,
I
right?
think there's enough changes we
Yeah.
have to.
Okay.
Well, I think it's good visibility. I think it's good visibility.
I think that's true.
Yeah, so,
Well, it also allows us to have, we can look at our schedules. I know that Kentwood Coral Strand is the following evening that I will be at with 60 little 3rd through 6th graders.
Oh, yeah. I'll be at Cambridge's Coral Patch.
Well, I just want to end with, again, I'm sure everybody around this table appreciate your work.
Yes.
I was pretty amazed the day I spent in there, and I just thought, wow, you know.
Thank you very much.
thank you. Yep.
Thank you for
Appreciate
coming.
that consent reviewer of that time, because I've seen that every single meeting where you really concerned about.
Yeah, no, you know, like I said, Ben's a great fit for us because he's very forward in what his time is. I think he represents, you know, the various hats he wears very well. And just, you know, we've got reams of stuff that he's brought to meetings to educate us and you know, it's daunting.
So it might be beneficial to have an IT person at our meeting. I'll email you. So you
Our
know
pleasure.
what room we're in.
Thanks for the time, it helps us.
All right.
I don't have it in front of
It's
me, they're
now-
all different.
It's okay.
Do we have anything else that we need to discuss? Anybody else have any?
For sure.
It is 1:12 and we're adjourned.
Thank you.
And then you can let Ben know that as well, so that might take a little pressure off of him to
I need some more.